Okay. How do we sound? We sound good. And it looks like you guys can kind of see me once I get into the frame. We can. That's good. Excellent. Okay, people. Let me get my shit together here. Should be able to see me fine here in a second. The camera on the screen is a tiny bit delayed. Make sure that looks... Yeah, we're good. Let's go. Awesome. Well, hope you all are doing great. Back again here with another live. And I see Rich has been waiting for this. Rich, your first one on tonight. Nice to see you. It's coming. And I'll be playing with it tomorrow in our lesson. So that'll be fun. Today is ReString Zero day. I've had this string. I wish I could turn the camera, but I can't because it's hooked up and it's plugged in and yeah. Yeah, I wish I could show you all the strings over here. It's not okay, it's a mess. There's a bunch that need to be reviewed and I'm slow, but yeah. So here comes ReString Zero. I have it in the 17 gauge. I've actually had this string for like many, many months. I did ReString Sync right off the bat. I'm not gonna rip this this kind of paper thing because I'll save it for the video. But yeah, Rich has got it. Rich is a guy that he works, and he doesn't work. He's on the board at the club that I play at, and I'm doing a lesson with him tomorrow. So be giving him a lesson tomorrow, and we'll be doing ReString Sync, and we'll have that in my racket. Once again, 17 gauge. I'm gonna put it in this Extreme Tour here, or Extreme Pro, is what they're calling it now. But I gotta cut out, well actually I can do that after. Normally I'm used to the tour line sets because they come in half sets. So I'm a little spoiled like that. Tourline does have it going quite well in that category. Like they're doing a really good job, I think, there in that department, because it's so much easier for the stringer. Because then all this doesn't happen here. This is a nightmare. Even if the string is, you know, already unraveled and everything. RFO1 review when? Listen, man, I don't know. Probably soon. I don't have it. I don't know when I'll get it. Just depends. I work with Tennyson. If they want to send it to me, I will give it a review. But right now, I got too many things on the go. I'm going back to school next week. So a lot of stuff is going on. Hello, hello. I'm assuming you are from Chile. Nice to see you. That's a long ways away. So this is how we're going to cut this. Never used this technique, but we are going to do it anyway. Oh, friggin' not. See, this is another reason right here. Things just get knotted up. Haven't even done anything yet. But yeah, this string has gotten a ton of hype. ReString Zero has gotten a ton of hype. And it's honestly cooled off a little bit. So low key, I am late to the party. Apologies for that. But, you know, that's just the way it is. That's the way my schedule has worked out. There we go. There, maybe that's not going to work. Actually, we'll do this. Wow, this is a small room, so I'm having a hard time doing this the old strings out here. I'm looking for possibly purchasing the percep. However, I heard that a lot of perceps crack at the throat. Do you hear about this? No, I have not heard about perceps cracking in the throat. I had a percept and I sold it, and it never had any issues. Yeah, I mean, you could look on Tennis Warehouse forums and just see what they say about that. But yeah, interesting how that happens. If you're a racket thrower, then I can see it maybe happening. People that throw their rackets or that are harder on their rackets, those issues tend to occur more. I am proud and happy to say that I'm not a racket thrower. Sometimes I wish I could, but even though I'm lucky enough that I do get free rackets to review and stuff, it's just not worth it. It's really not. I saw some people saying it, and also some of Caru's are cracked. Okay, well then you probably have reason, because Caru is using those, right? So maybe there was a manufacturing issue or something. Hard to say, a lot of things. But that's hard to believe just because Yonex is very much on it when it comes to, quality control and all those other things, right? So tough to say. Hopefully it gets figured out for you though. Or maybe they'll just send you could even reach out to them to see if you can get a new one. They might even just send you one whoever you bought it from. Most times retailers are pretty good with that, or like I had a head rad, like my old head rads. I had a crack, not a crack, like a rattle in the throat, or in the oh my god, I can't even speak. In the handle. And I just reached out to the rep and he said, yeah, that's fine, I'll send you a new one. So normally companies and retailers are quite good with those things because mistakes can happen. Hi, current UTR, I think I'm like over, I don't know, like a 10.6 or 10.7. Highest UTR was an 11.3. So yeah. Yes, I also couldn't really believe it. Yeah, I know, so it sucks, right? You get like a random crack like that. It does suck. It does. So what's going on with everybody? Hope everybody's doing well. Summer's going by quite quickly for me. My summer is coming to an end here within the next week. I'm going back to school, finishing up work here. Try and get a couple of videos in. And yeah, then we're off to the races. Last year of school. We got ITAs hopefully here in 1 month at the US Open. We got our fall season. It's crazy. Time's going by quickly. Where's everybody tuning in from today? We have some fellow Canadians in here, or are we more of an international group? Every time I do a live, it's a little bit different. What rackets do you recommend that have a good mix of power and control? Well, first of all, it depends on your level, right? It's hard to recommend a racket. Like I would never recommend like a, I don't know, like a, I would not recommend like the old RF Pro Staff to like a brand new player. You know what I mean? But for somebody that's more experienced and that's like Wilson and stuff, has played with pro sets, then that's an easy one to recommend. But I mean, I don't know, I feel like head rackets do a great job of blending. Like this extreme line does a good job. The speeds do a good job. What other rackets? I mean, the Pure Strike's pretty good for that. But that's for my level of play. Everybody's different, right? What else do we have in here? Sorry, I'm a little slow. You are from the Netherlands. Very nice. I have a couple of really good friends from the Netherlands. One from Amsterdam and then one from the north of Holland. That both played on my team the last few years. Hopefully I'll be able to visit there someday. Am I switching to the Extreme Pro? We're going to talk about that some other day. That's all I'll say. People have been asking me a lot about, if it's going to be the Speed Pro, if it's the Speed MP, if it's the Extreme Pro, if it's something else. And all I can say is I'm not telling you anything right now. None. Nothing. Beckett, hi buddy. How long before I beat you in a match? I don't know, we should do some training, you know? Do some training together first. I'll put you through the ringer. Couple days, that's what I would say, couple days. Does the blade have more power than the Gravity Pro? Because I felt no power with the Gravity. Ooh. Good question. I think the blade actually has a bit more power, but they're actually kind of close. The Gravity Pro is really tough to generate power. Like, you gotta have good technique, that's my opinion. Like, I struggle to generate, like when I played with it, even weighted out.
Bluetooth connected.
That's one thing that I struggle with when I play with the blade. But funny how there's like, I mean, I had a period this summer where I played with the blade for a bit and I really liked it actually. But then, I don't know, play with it, tinker around with it, it's like, what am I doing? Guys, today's live is sponsored by Bubbly. No, I'm just kidding. It's not. It's not. But Bubbly should sponsor. Because I drink probably like too many of those. Too many of those. That's one thing. Like, talking about college and stuff and all the boys. Like, none of them like sparkling water. I don't know why people don't like sparkling water. It's the best thing. It's so good. How can you not like sparkling water? Have me and Beckett ever played before? No, unfortunately we have not. I was actually, was maybe gonna get to see him if I had gone to there was a tournament in Vancouver. There was also a 1000 event. Stanley Park Open, which was a great tournament. And we might have been able to see each other there, but I obviously didn't. I'm like, holy shit, I'm roasting here. I just gotta open a window. What rackets do you like best for serve? That's so like opinionated. I hate to give recommendations. Like, I feel like if I was gonna take a racket to the court to solely just like get a lot of power on my serve, I would take like a pure drive or something, and I'd hit it like 150 miles an hour. Maybe not 150, but like you get the point. Like, it's just like I would be able to just crush it. Where like Wilson and head rackets, I feel like I'm more accurate. So it's so tough to say. Like, for example, I like this Extreme Pro on serve. I like my Rad on serve. The speeds have been good on serve for me. I don't know. I mean, it's tough to say. There's not like, and this is something that I keep saying. Every live I keep saying, people ask about rackets, I say, which one's better, which one's worse, da 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 da. There's not a bad racket anymore. Like, rackets have become so good now, and so many people, you can customize rackets and like put different strings in them, and there's it's hard to have like a really bad setup. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's not one way to have a racket. It's all what works for you, right? So I would, obviously, if you gave me a little bit more detail, I'd probably be able to help you, but college next question. Is the spring and fall, is the spring and fall trial period only at the D1 level? What do you mean by trial period? What do you mean by that? I don't know what that means. I'll tell you how we do it. So both Division 1 and Division 2 have their championship season, and that is normally in the spring. So my first and second year, we have what's called individual. This is how I explain it. We don't call it individual, but it's like our individual season. So that's when we go play like ITAs, which is like Intercollegiate Tennis Association. So you play for yourself, but you represent your school. If you play well in the region, you go to nationals. They do that for D1, D2, and D3. So that's what I was talking about earlier. Our host site for ITA regionals this year is at the US Open. It's at the US Open every year, so we're really lucky. So ITAs happen, then you have your spring season. But recently, and this was our conference, they changed our conference rule. And our conference rule stated, or like they changed it to having a dual season. So that means my conference, we play in the fall and the spring. And the reason they changed that is because we lost one team. So they want everybody to get more matches, which is totally cool. I'm for that. I'm sure there's a couple guys that don't like that. But if you like tennis, then you would like playing more, which is great. So now we have ITAs in the fall. We have a fall season, so we play every team once. We'll have some exhibitions, so we'll play a couple D1s or a couple D3s, and then we kind of have this mid-November and December off. We don't play matches, but we practice. That's a period where like guys can go play tournaments or go play UTR tournaments, or if they qualify for a future, they could like go play futures. So that's kind of what that time's for. And then you have the January, you have preseason, then you finish out the year, and then you have your championship season. So I don't know if that answered your question, but let's say racket to not hit many double faults. Well, I hate to break it to you, that's going to be a technical issue. There's no single racket that is going to help you not hit double faults. Unfortunately, I hate to break it to you. Yeah, if there was, I would be using that racket right now. Ooh, top 5 rackets all time, just you. Ooh, good question. Ooh. Okay, this is obviously super personal. I would have to put Wilson BLX Pro on there because that was my first tennis racket ever. So that's the racket that like I fell in love with tennis basically. So I have to put that on there. The old Extreme Tour, without a doubt, is on there. The first Extreme Tour, 100%. So there's 2 rackets. I had a really fun experience with the Pure Aero Origin. So that could maybe be up there as well. Other than that, then like the last 2 spots could go so many different ways. Like, yes, Pro Open, exactly. And then they botched it and it sucked. And they tried to make it again and then Wilson screwed over us when they made that one that looked like a bumblebee. What else? I'm really struggling here. I mean, I played with like like I made a lot of bad racket choices, guys, when I was younger. Really bad racket choices. Like, thought it was like a great idea to play with a Rad Pro when I was like 11. Like, great choice, Cade. And then like I played with an Ultra Tour, a Pro that kept going back in between the name. And that was like a stupid decision. Great racket, but it's like it's not an all-time list racket. But yeah. Yes, actually, well, I'm skipping over because I see Beckett's recent comment. I have a friend, and I've talked about him on here a little bit. How are we doing? You guys back? Are we back? Are we back? Are we back? Are we back? You guys hear me? How are we doing? Okay, sweet. Sorry. Sorry. That's my bad. I don't know where I ended up or where I stopped talking. Shit. My apologies. It just decided to go on me. And sorry, guys. Oh, I don't know how far back. Maybe somebody can. Where did it cut out? Because then I'll start talking again where I missed. Man, somebody is doing a campfire like on the house over, and it smells so good right now because I have the window open. Yeah, like when did I stop talking? Because shit. I was talking about, like I answered Beckett's question about like the PT57A stuff. And then a couple of guys were talking about college tennis. I was trying to answer that. Are we back though? I think we're back. I can see myself. The video is running. So yeah, I'll just say what I said over again. Somebody asked if this was the new Extreme Tour or new Extreme Pro. Yes, it is. That's all I'm going to talk about because I'll talk about it more in the video. Was talking about how my teammate's dad, it was Tommy Haas's coach. So he's going to actually bring me one of his rackets to play with. So I'll be able to make a video about that and stuff, which will be awesome. He's got like a ton of his rackets at his house, which is sweet. But yeah, other than that, I can't remember what I was saying. I could always go back on the video, but I'm not gonna do that. Just actually gonna reload the comments because sometimes it glitches out. People are probably saying stuff. Yes. Oh my God, you guys. It's literally, the comments froze with the video. So then everybody started typing in now. Guys, holy shit. Sorry. I don't know what the heck is going on. I never, ever, ever have issues with the Wi-Fi downstairs, and it's just botting out right now. So apologies for that. It should, I just turned my data on and said I'll use data instead. It should be working fine. Oh, that's so frustrating. I just want to have a conversation. And you guys still doesn't seem like you heard me at all when I was talking about the story. Let's try one more time. So my teammate's dad, Tommy Haas's coach, or like for a very long time coach. So when Tommy worked with Nick Bollettieri when he was growing up, Scott is his name, he basically worked with Nick Bollettieri, and then he took on Tommy full time. So he's worked with Tommy ever since he was a teenager, which is really cool. So anyway, to my point, he uses a racket that would be similar to Andy's, which is the PT57A, or was before he retired. And he's going to bring me one to play, so I'm excited to use it. Once again, sorry for the Wi-Fi. Never have issues down here, but we are having issues today. I think the Zero actually will look pretty solid in the Extreme Pro. Definitely different colors. I'm stringing my Gravity Pro with Solenko Revolution right now. Nice. Gravity Pro with Revolution. Oh, that's a cool setup. Hey Matt, welcome to the live. You've just shown up at the perfect time. All the people that are on here are the real ones because we've been having some issues here with the video cutting out and all that stuff. But yeah, hopefully I answered that question. I finished the story. But yes, I am very much excited to play with that racket. Is it 1.23 or 1.28? I don't know if you're talking about the ReString or his Revolution. I have the 1.23, which is the 17 gauge. And yes, the quality should improve. I threw on my data instead of Wi-Fi, so yeah, it was pretty bad. It was like botting out. Kate, have you tried out the new Extremes? Yes, I have. Be talking about those very soon. Probably will record a video tomorrow. Lots to talk about. Some people had asked me earlier to give some details about them, and I'm not. We'll save that for the video People were also wanting me to bite about the speeds. And I put that comparison video out a few days back. So yeah, no, we're gonna keep it a secret for now. We are gonna keep everything a secret. That's the one thing about rackets and getting them and demoing them. You know, like I got like the Pure Strike. I played with that the other day. That's a good racket. Played with this. This is great. The speeds are unreal. The blade, I was even tinkering with the blade. I don't know if Rich is on. Rich is still on here. He's, like I said earlier, he's a member at our club, and I see him like every day, and I have a different racket in my hand every day right now, and that's sometimes not a good thing, right? But the decision has been made, but like we're just not gonna talk about it on here. We're gonna Rich is a real one. We're just not gonna, Rich actually knows but Rich is not gonna spill the beans. I have faith in Rich. He's not gonna spill the beans. But we'll leave it at that. Rich has seen me play with a fair share of rackets this summer. He could make like a separate page of like watching MP tennis played with different rackets. That would be a new video, a couple videos a day. I'm just bringing different rackets to work and practice every day. It's bad. But that won't be happening much anymore. Won't be happening much anymore because I have finally figured it out. It was honestly tough. It was honestly tough. What string you think can be good with a Pure Aero 98? Probably some, well, it depends on your level. Once again, depends on your level. I would say something that's a little bit stiffer when it comes to like those Pure Aero, Pure Drive, you know, Wilson Ultra 100s, you know, like even if you have like an Extreme MP, Speed MP, is those stiffer polys. Like, I mean, the other polys work fine in them too, but like for me, I just like a stiffer poly in a racket that's more powerful. That's just me though. So something like ReString Sync would be a great option. That's honestly one of the best strings on the market right now. I don't talk about that string enough. For some, it's a tad too firm, and it's definitely close for me. Like, I think I have to string it a little lower, just so it's not too hard on my arm. But if you're putting that string in like a more control-oriented racket at a higher tension, you could be playing with fire there, especially if you've had elbow issues and stuff in the past. This is a really broad question, but what do you think the dead feeling that comes off? What do I think of the dead feeling of Wilson rackets? Honestly, that might just be you, but I often feel disconnected with my shots because of that feeling. Honestly, like, I don't know if I really feel that. That's just my take. Like, what racket specifically are you talking about? Because I can tell you for one, like, the clash in the Wilson Ultra 100, not my favorite rackets. I can tell you that right now. I haven't played with the new ones, but like, those were just rackets that I've never really cared to bring on the channel. It's actually the guy that I was talking about. Jaden, that's Tommy Haas's coach's son. But who would have thought? Can't answer that. But yeah, I don't know. Like the pro staffs, I never had issues. The Wilson blade, I don't have issues with. Yeah, the countervail stuff, like what they were using back in the day, I thought was really bad. And I really didn't like the stuff that Wilson was coming out with then. Like the Pro Staff that they came out with Counterbarrel was garbage, I thought. That's before I started really like reviewing racket and stuff, and I was also much younger then. But the blade, I remember, wasn't really well liked with Countervail. The Ultra, oh god, Ultra with Countervail, that could go down as like one of the worst rackets ever. Sorry, on. Okay, sorry for the interruption. There we go. Yeah, we're talking about Wilson rackets. On the Pro Staff side, it might be because you have to hit the sweet spot. Hey, you know, that's a good point. It's a smaller head, but I never got that sensation actually of like the dead feel, but that's just me. It could be your string setup as well. Certain strings have a dead feel, like certain polys have that dead feel. Some people actually really enjoy that. But hey, yeah, that's just my opinion. It could be, honestly, I just get this feeling where I feel disconnected from, I much prefer head Yonex print style frames. Hey, and it looks like some people feel similar to you, so you're probably not the only one. For me, like now that we got talking about this, I personally can never get connected to the Yonex frames. Like, I try and I try and I try and I just cannot, I cannot like them. I don't know what it is. And it's always the E-zone. I always want to like the E-zone. I've tried different strings. I've tried different tensions, hybrids, you name it. I've given multiple E-zones a try. The newest one, the old one. I've played with guys on our team that just swear by them and love them over the last few years, and I just can't do it. And that's my racket, and Yonex streams in general. I don't know why. The V-Core 95 was my favorite racket I ever played with for like Yonex frames. But I would say, like, if I had to say like my favorite brands, honestly, like, Head's been so, I don't know what it is, that their rackets just feel good in my hands. You could give me a Radical, you could give me a Speed, you give me Extreme, like what I have here. The Gravity's okay, it's not my favorite, but it still works. Yeah. Yes, I definitely understand that. I love the V-Core Pro line now. The Percept and those feel nicely. You feel nicely connected to those. Yeah, like I haven't tried the Percept 100, like Caru's racket. I actually think I could like that one a lot. Maybe that's why I didn't bring it on the channel, because I think I would like it a lot and probably want to switch to it. That's an issue I'm currently having, wanting to switch to every racket I play with because they're all good. Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, like so many rackets are good now. There's no bad rackets, and just because I don't really like Yonex doesn't mean they're bad. In fact, Yonex is a great company. They make great rackets. So many people love their rackets. Their quality control is unreal. And they also make great strings now, like Polytour Rev, Polytour Pro. There was a TikTok one of my friends sent me like a few months ago, and it was like, if you play with this racket, it describes you like in a couple words or whatever. So it went through like, if you play with a head racket, you just grind hard and never give up. If you play with a Babolat racket, it was like big spin and whatever. If you play with Wilson, it's like you're a pretty boy and like you have anger issues. And then it's like, I don't know, I just went through all the different racket brands and it was so funny. But I honestly thought it was pretty spot on. I love the Ezone 100 and came within a whisker of getting it before I got my Rad MP. Found them way different, but love them both. Yep. Like I said, so many good rackets out there. By the way, I don't know if you've tried the new Fed racket, but here are my first impressions if you're willing to hear it. Sure, I mean, I've seen stuff on YouTube and online and stuff, and I know what they look like, obviously, because they're out now. And I'm sure I'll try them eventually, but I'm not really in a rush to play with them. I just got so much happening right now, so, but I'm happy to hear what you've thought of them. The feel of the racket for me is like a Pure Aero 98 with the Wilson feel and foam filling. It plays like the Pure Aero 98 in terms of ground strokes, but launch angle much lower. That's kind of interesting, actually. Never thought I would. I wonder if other people think the same. I've honestly, like, I mean, I've seen people have made videos, but I haven't even watched any of them, if I'm being honest. Like, I just have had no time. One of my favorite rackets of old was the V-Core 97 Pro HD, the one that preceded the 97D, Super Connect. You know what, I know a lot of people that, there's a lot of people that did enjoy those rackets, actually. I know a few guys that like those too. Serves are bombs while still being able to place them wherever you want. That's cool. That's nice to have. No, I'm sure it's a good racket. You know what though, and like this could be a hot take. I love that they've made a racket that's like inspired from him, and it's very RF, and it's like this and that. But I actually don't like the paint job. And maybe I need to have it in my hand to feel different about it or feel the same about it. But just from seeing all the photos and the clips that I've seen of it, I actually am not a fan of how it looks. Like, I don't personally, I guess it is the Roger Federer line. I just don't like the RF logo on there. Like, something about rackets that put guys, like their emblems, like for example, the Novak racket, the Black Speed, the Speed Legend. It's the same as the Speed, regular Speed Pro and Speed MP, but it's just blacked out and it's gloss versus that like velvet feeling, but it's the same specs. And they have Novak's logo on it. And like, for me, I just can't use a racket with somebody's logo on it. Like, it doesn't feel like my racket. And that could be me just being really weird and like being a loser. But for me, I don't know, like that ain't my thing. Like, when I played with my Rads, when I played with the Extreme Tour, when I played with other rackets, like, it's my racket. I don't want to play with somebody else's racket that has their own logo on it. Like, I feel like a big fan then, like, and maybe that's because I still play and I still have like my own kind of like tennis journey to go through. So playing with somebody else's like endorsed equipment or equipment that has their name on it just doesn't seem right. That's just me though. But I know everybody, you know, there might be a lot of people that do think opposite to I do. Okay, because I remember trying to do it. Okay, that's it.
This may be asking for a spoiler, but are you considering a potential switch before your school year starts?
The switch has already occurred. The switch has already occurred. I won't tell you what racket. There was a ton of rackets in the pool. But we'll be talking about it. One thing you should go watch is you should go watch my Speed MP and Speed Pro video. That's a good one to look at before this switch one happens. There's a couple teammates that were chirping me big time because we talk about rackets and equipment and all the other tennis things. And they make fun of me because, well, they know I'm allowed and get my hands on all these rackets, which I'm very lucky to have. But they know that I was back and forth between a few rackets. And I do know what, like, Tennis Nerd, I remember him a few years ago, just watching one of his videos, and he was saying, like, I could take any one of these rackets out for a tournament. And you know what's horrible is I never thought I would ever feel like that. And be like, you know, I could take this racket out for a tournament and it would play great. Well, I've reached that point in my racket demoing video sort of thing. There's so many good rackets. I've said, this is like the 7th time I've said that in today's live. But there really is a few rackets that I feel like I could go play matches with and be fine with. And like, I'm not gonna say, but you know, the last month or so, I've played a lot with the Blade. I've played a lot with the Speed Pro. I've played a lot with the Speed MP. I've played with this one. I've played with the Pure Strike 98. And yeah, I'll leave it at that. Snack break. And I also, I played with the Aero 98. Not switching to that. That thing is so friggin' powerful. Like, it's crazy. I know. I'm sorry. I mean, good racket, but just like, it just doesn't have any feeling. Like, for me, like comparing it to rackets, like coming from a Radical Pro that was quite customized. Okay, well, like now I'm like really admitting that I did switch. You guys are like getting me going here. I am switching, for sure. The switch has happened. But coming from a rad like that, playing with the Extreme Tour before, you know, like that racket just seems so powerful in a good way. But like I just miss so many of the attributes that I'm used to playing with. Head rackets, I feel like have this like they have like this total package feel. They don't do anything like absolute killer. Like the Pure Aero line, Pure Drive line, you're gonna get just so much power from those. And sometimes for people, that's all they want and they love it. Where like Wilson rackets are like super feel oriented, I think. Especially like pro staffs and blades. Where like head rackets are very much in that middle realm. And then there's Yonex, which I already told you guys I don't like. But they make great rackets. And I don't know, like it's just something about head rackets. I'm kind of going off on a tangent here. But because I forget what you kind of asked. But yeah. I always find myself coming back to head rackets, but like for example, that Pure Strike 98, great racket. I'm gonna be doing a video about that too. Am I doing a full bet of zero? I am doing a full bet of zero. I still have my hot take that you're going to switch the Rafa Origin. Yeah, I mean that's a good hot take. I would say that. Listen, that racket was really awesome. I will say that. But you know what? I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not saying anything. I've already talked about too much. I have already spoken way too much about this, and you guys are getting me going. And what about that custom one too? Oh yeah. Well, Rich has got me going now. So there was supposed to be a video made. You guys may have seen a video that Tennis Nerd made about a racket that's called Nordic Dots. They sent me the same rackets and I played with both of them. So it's actually a funny story. Recorded all the videos, had given them my feedback. They were prototype rackets. So it was really cool for me to kind of be a part of a company going through their racket, kind of like they're making a racket. I get to give them feedback of what I think. So anyway, great frame. Did a lot of things well, but I thought could use some work in departments. Shared that with them. And you know, of course, time went by, getting ready to upload the video. And well, before I say what I'm going to say, they also had gone through multiple changes and remakes of the prototype. So when I was going to release this video, their prototype was already going to be advanced to a new prototype, and they had made changes. So I think they were going to change the stiffness, and they were going to change some things with the pattern and the beam, etc., etc., etc. So putting this video out wouldn't have really done much, except maybe bring some light and showcase kind of their company. Anyway, long story short, recorded the video, and I deleted the footage by accident. And I couldn't go out and record again because I had sent their rackets back to Europe for testing for them to do it in the lab. Because they wanted to test the wear and tear that I put on the rackets because I had strung them with a couple different strings. Anyway, long story short, kind of sucked because the rackets were actually not bad and I deleted the footage. And anyway, it just didn't work out because they didn't even want me to put the video out because they had made modifications to the rackets and I didn't even have any footage put out. But Nordic Dots is a really cool company and they have kind of released some stuff now. Their clothing is amazing. I have some of their clothing that they were nice enough to give me. So that's the story there. Did you like the new Extreme Pro? Not going to comment on that. Not going to comment on that one. But I will say that it's a great racket. And it is not a letdown. It is not a letdown. There's a couple rackets in my tennis life and tennis journey that I've had that I always like to see continue to do well. And this one, it was a pretty good update, I think. Come watch the lives. This is where Kate spills the beans. Yeah, literally, because I just get so into it. And I enjoy talking and you guys make me spill the beans, actually. So cheers to you, Matt. What are the recommendation tensions on Zero? Bruh. I don't even know. I don't even know. On their little thing, they don't even say on their thing. I'm personally gonna just string it what I've been normally stringing at because I like to use that as a reference point in the beginning when like testing strings. And then if I feel like it's too low, then I'll string higher, and if I feel like it's too high, then I'll drop it. And I'm playing with it in a full bed here, so yeah, we'll see. We will see. But yeah, Matt, you are right. I'm 1000% spilling the beans, and I've already given away too much info.
The Nordic Dots frame. I see
JNR Gaming. I see your comment there. It's actually a great frame. And the mods that they change are really, really minor. But the racket was like a 99 square inch racket. The beam was quite thick and the string pattern was very tight. So very unique. And it was honestly way too controlled for me. That was the one complaint I had. But yeah, cool racket, cool little small company.
Can someone recommend a racket that's good on serve, really maneuverable, and plays well for a one-handed backhand? I'm a 10 user, need a new racket, but can't really demo.
Whew. Extreme Pro would probably be nice. Rads, the Radicals are good. Wilson Blade. A lot of people love the Wilson Blade. The 1619 and the 1820 would be a good one for a one-handed backhand. The Pro Staffs, people love those. You could try like a V-Core 95 or 98 if you want a little bit more power. I'm sure I'm forgetting some. Maybe you guys can help me out. But those are the ones that first come to. Maybe a Pure Strike, you go a little Dominic Team style. Maybe a Speed, maybe, but I don't know. A Prestige, if you have great technique, and you love control rackets, a Prestige is going to be a beauty for you. Those are cool rackets. Oh yeah, that's another racket. I have the Prestige MPL upstairs, and I have actually hit with that quite a bit. I just didn't make a video about it yet. I've been slow, guys. Yonex Percept, that's a good one. That's right, forgot about that. Now I'm crowding the camera. Did you watch the Canadian ATP 1000 events? Yes, I did. Okay, and I don't know if Beckett's in here or Rich, because they're Canadian. But like, I'm gonna give my feedback on like what I think about like those tournaments. I think they're so bad. I hate watching our National Bank Open. I don't know why, or if it's like, if I'm like comparing our 1000 event to Indian Wells, like it's so bad. It's not even close to as cool as like Monte Carlo or Indian Wells. And don't get me wrong, Montreal and Toronto, much different city. But like in different vibe, different people, different country. But like, I don't know, it just seems kind of bush. And Tennis Canada kind of pisses me off anyway, so I don't know. Just my thing. Oh God, all major racket brands are hiring for a new CEO. Well, how about we, first of all, we do it together, so we're both the CEO. I would do that. Which one would I go for? Honestly, probably Head, just because I like their rackets the most, like overall. Head, and then probably like, I mean, it's hard to say no to Wilson just because it's so prestigious and like legendary. But then it would probably be a tie between Wilson and Babylon. Yonex is really cool, but like, I don't know. I just Head by a long shot because like all this stuff in Austria and like they're so good with like the pro stock rackets and all that stuff. I just think that's so cool. Would love to go to Kettlebunk, however you say it, in Austria. That would be really cool. They have like all the legendary rackets there. Beckett, now your turn. What company CEO would you want to be of? I'll take a guess. I would say, you're gonna say something that's like totally, you're gonna say like something like not even a main tier racket brand or like mainstream. That's just my guess because I feel like you're just gonna be different like that. Thanks. I bought
both pure strike, speed, but didn't really mesh. I can't see the comments. With both, came out. Nice. Our coverage is awful. We get the worst commentary through. Yes, it's so bad. It is so bad. I can't stress it enough. I don't even want to watch. I put it on the TV, and sometimes, like this year was actually a little bit better, but in the past, I would just turn the channel off or flip it to a different channel because they don't even know what they're talking about. Like, it's like verbal diarrhea. It's awful. Somebody's probably gonna clip that, but it is. It's so bad. And Sportsnet is just so lame. For people that are in Canada, Sportsnet for tennis, it just sucks. Like, it's just so cringe, especially when they do Davis Cup too. Oh my God. Beckett, like when they do Davis Cup, that's horrific. Like, so bad. I hate it. But anyway, that's enough of my tangent for, I'm beating up real hard on our Rogers Cup. That's what it used to be called, National Bank Open. Like, National Bank, what even is that? Like, it's so not that big of a company in Canada. Tennis Canada is it's just brutal sometimes. Anyway, who wins out of you for the GOAT debate? You guys are actually keeping me here. I'm done the racket. I don't have any more to do, but I'm answering these questions because I have fun. Who is the GOAT? I mean, it's clearly Novak. Like I'll fight somebody if they think it's Rafa or Roger. Like, you just can't win that anymore. Like, Novak, the way that I see it now is Novak has beat tennis. He has beat tennis, like, by far. Like, he's beat the game. Like, I don't think you can say that about any other tennis player. Like, obviously I watch more men's tennis than women's tennis, so Serena would have won a gold, I think, and she won all the slams, but they have different tournaments for WTA, so it's hard to say. Novak has won all the Masters 1000s, he's won all the slams multiple times, he's won a gold medal now too, he won a bronze as well. The career number ones, like weeks at one, is unreal. He has a winning record against Roger and Rafa. I mean, I think he's won Davis Cup too, correct me if I'm wrong. Like, the guy is just lockdown mode unbeatable. Like, he's just really good. And love him or hate him, you gotta respect it. You gotta respect it. I personally am not a Novak fan, but I'm just stating the obvious. Like, he's just better. Or sorry, he's statistically better. And I know people are going to say, oh, Roger Federer's like 1950 season was unreal, whatever year it was. But like, yes, and it was. And Rafa had years where he was unreal. And Andy Murray has won 2 gold medals and 3 slams and had to play the 3 of them and suffered horribly. And that's my favorite player. Like, what we should be talking about is all the slams that Rafa, and Novak stole from everybody else. Because that's crazy. It's like they are all 3 GOAT tier, and Novak just has the edge on them in a couple different categories. Roger, of course, is the most beautiful tennis player ever. I also think that's not, you can't even argue that. Rafa, by far the greatest tennis player ever to play on clay court. Not even a debate. That probably could win best forehand too. That's up for debate, but just my opinion. Novak hasn't won our hearts, and that's a big deal. Well, yeah, I don't disagree with that either. Like, I don't know. I'm not saying I'm a Novak fan because I was really hardcore Roger. Like, when he won 2017 Aussie Open, that was like, holy shit, Roger Federer is the greatest thing that's ever happened. And I was big Raj fan. Because that would have been still when I was a junior. And then he had some knee issues, and Rafa was still grinding, like so hard, grinding every year, winning the French. And I was like, this guy is crazy.
So we're all really grateful to have witnessed all of that. And then I remember also the Wimbledon final where Roger had 2 match points and lost to Novak. I remember that one really well. And that one like killed me. And I was like, oh my God, we need to stop Novak. And then I was just like, if we're like saying we need to stop him, he's just not going to be stopped. And he was not stopped. So I can appreciate his stats. And I do appreciate the way he is to life. I like his story too. I'm not saying that I like him more than Roger and Rafa, but I can appreciate him in a different way. I mean, he grew up in a really tough, situation. Like, I don't know, if you guys haven't heard more about Novak's story and stuff, it's really cool. Also, I'm gonna go on an Andy Murray tangent here. I love Andy Murray. By far, like my favorite tennis player ever. I've said that before. Lord Andy Murray, Sir Andy Murray, had a crazy year that, I think it was the 2012 year, was like finals of Wimbledon, I think, against Roger, then beat him a couple weeks later at Wimbledon, geared up for hard courts, won the US Open that year, defended the Olympic gold medal, which is so hard to do, in Rio in 2016. And one thing I didn't know about Andy Murray until a couple of years ago, and this was around the time that his documentary came out, and that is what changed my whole perspective on Andy Murray. It's called Resurfacing. Y'all should watch that too. That's one of the best sport documentaries I've ever seen. That's like so for real. I love that one. And so when Andy Murray was a kid, he was in elementary school, and he was going to class, and there was a school shooter, and he killed some of the kids in his class, and he was one of the kids that survived. So I think that's like crazy. Obviously horrible that happened. That's a whole other thing that we will probably never talk about on this channel, is guns and stuff. But just knowing that he survived that, and he had to go through that as a child and witness those horrible things, that can do a lot to a person, I think. It can be really traumatic, especially when you're a child. So that was really cool. You guys can look that up too. That actually happened. So that's really cool. I like Andy Murray for multiple reasons, not just because of what happened to him when he was a kid, but his will, his passion, his grind. And that's just why I love Andy for many, many reasons. My take on that question is Novak GOAT of stats, Nadal GOAT of clay spin, Fed GOAT of, very well stated. Everybody has their own GOAT. Like for me, Andy Murray is my GOAT. Like, man, like I was pretty much in tears when I watched his last doubles match, and I like had to pirate it. Like I just needed to watch all of it. They were saving match points again in that final dubs match. Another crazy thing to note, like what he was doing for the sport, like Dan Evans played with Andy in Paris for no prize money, for no points, and he lost 500 points to play with him because he didn't go to Washington and defend his 500 ATP points because he had won that last year. That says a lot. So now Dan Evans is like 50 or 60 in the world, drops down to 180 or something. That's unreal. And like he didn't have to do that. So honestly, major credit to Dan Evans as well. I saw that on Andy Roddick's podcast yesterday. So also, what a legend, Andy Roddick. Will Alcaraz reach the heights of the big three in the future, in your opinion? I think so. I thought you said big four. Big four for sure. I don't think tennis will be as competitive though, like moving forward. Like we were really lucky, right? Like remember I was just saying, like Raj, Rafa, and Novak, they stole all the majors from everyone. Like we need to remember the last 12 years of tennis. Forget about the big three and the big four. Think about those players that were 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 in the world. Tsonga, Berdych, Raonic, Ferrer. I'm going to miss so many of them here, but like Nishikori, Wawrinka, Dominic Thiem, Dimitrov. I don't know if I said Tsonga already, but like Monfils was in the top 10. There's like at least probably 25 guys that could have had like a slam, and they were denied and denied and denied, and now they're still being denied, like Sasha and Stefanos and even guys like Rublev. And like Medvedev could probably have a couple more slams if it wasn't for those guys too. So it's crazy. Like if you even think about like Ferrer or Berdych, and those guys go into a tournament every week, and you have Andy, Roger, Rafa, and Novak as like the top 4 seeds. What a joke. Like might as well just that's a suicide mission, trying to get to the final and win. Like it was so hard to win. Like it's crazy. But Alcaraz, yeah, like back to your point, Alcaraz, I think it would be safe to say that I think he'll finish with like probably more than 12 slams. I think it's so tough. Like it was a golden era, guys. Like think about before Roger, Rafa, and Novak, there was nobody that had 20 slams on the ATP side, you know what I mean? So I think Pete Sampras had 14. Isn't Novak like 10 ahead of him or something now? Like ridiculous. Like that's a lot of slams. Like if you enter yourself into a pro tennis tournament, that's kind of a big deal. Like I won't toot my own horn, but like I was in a qualies and a futures, and that was like the greatest thing of my life. These guys, then the next level was like trying to get into qualies and playing a slam and win rounds. That's so hard to do on a professional level. I won't even like try to explain that because it's so tough. Like the grind is unreal. And then to let alone win a slam is like one of the greatest accomplishments you can possibly do as an athlete, I think. And of course I'm biased. But then to win 20 plus slams, you're an animal, you're one of a kind, you're a legend, you're any other word you can think of.
We should also take into consideration that before Federer during the 80s, some ATP events had more prestige than Grand Slams like Australian Open, US Open, so those players didn't even...
And that's a great point. Tennis has evolved a lot. Like a lot of players didn't play the Aussie Open. That's a great point. Things have changed a lot. So it's tough to say. Like I think about Lendl, for example, like that guy's a GOAT. Well, he's not he is a GOAT. He's a legend for sure. But he's not like the GOAT of tennis, but he's definitely a legend. Or like Johnny Mack. I think he has maybe the most titles of all time combined of singles and doubles. Like that's a legend for sure. Like there's so many legends, you know what I mean? Like it's crazy.
And they don't have to play each other. Yeah. And that being said, Roger's my GOAT.
And that's totally fine. You know, like everybody can have their GOAT. And that's why people get so heated online, right? Because they're saying, oh, Roger's the GOAT, Rafa's the GOAT. And I don't really care what anybody thinks because Andy Murray is my GOAT. And nobody can tell me any different. And like, I know from a mathematical perspective, Novak Djokovic is the statistical GOAT of tennis. And if you don't agree with that, then you cannot do math. That's all I will say. And then of course, Roger and Rafa have their own things that they're totally cool with and have been amazing. So that's my tangent. Have I read Winning Ugly? Yes, I have. Yes, I have. Winning Ugly is probably one of the best tennis books I've ever read. Great book. Huge fan of Brad Gilbert, actually. Huge fan. Now I'm just kind of standing here awkwardly. I don't have anything to sit on or lean over. I'm like answering these questions and I should have been done like 30 minutes ago, but I'm like, I'm enjoying myself here. They are all amazing role models. Anyway, for all juniors, absolutely. Absolutely. Like, tennis is such a tough sport. All these guys that are out there grinding, They're all great role models for them. Andy Murray, next comment there I see, the grind he had in 2016 Roland Garros. Yes, I do agree with that. Too bad he didn't get that. One thing that I suggest to like everybody that's watching right now is you guys should go watch some of the older matches. Like, I'm talking like anything before 2010. So like there's some great matches like 2009 Australian Open, like Verdasco and Nadal, great match. I think that was 2009. Then you can watch like the ones from like early 2000s or like late 90s. Great matches, great. 2008 final. Honestly, one that's more recent, 2017 Aussie final. I've talked about that many times, and I did earlier tonight. One of the best slam finals ever. My favorite one ever. Do you ever want to play some tennis when you head back? Man, come by SNU anytime. I'm happy to. It would be great to meet you. I can't remember. I'm sure you said, are you from New Hampshire or are you from Massachusetts or are you Canadian? Like I actually don't remember, but I know that you probably told me, but I just forget because so many people are commenting on the lives and on everything. So. Oh, you're from Maine. Cool. Whereabouts in Maine? Because I would be able to tell you how far SNU is from Maine. You ever come to the UK and play? I've entered into a couple futures, but just never got in. And the times that I wanted to go was a little bit expensive, but I'm sure I'll get there in the future. But guys, get your last few questions here. I'm going to wrap up. This is the Extreme Pro with ReString Zero. It looks pretty good, actually. One thing too about this Extreme Pro, and I'll talk about it in the videos, I gave it a lot of shit for the paint job. I really didn't like the paint job. And now, like, playing with it in person, I actually really do like the paint job. So, yes, it does look like a highlighter, but, yeah, I don't mind it, actually. How many times have you hit with it? Oh, I've played with it plenty. I've been playing, yeah, I've played with it enough to know how it plays and to do a video on it, which will be coming soon. Also, watch Coria and Nadal. Yeah, great match. Also great match. Like honestly, like even though Rafa like destroyed some of these guys in the French finals, like those are also great matches. Like just to watch. Goated and sadly fairly forgotten match. Yes. Yep. But anyway, guys, that's gonna be it. Thank you guys for watching. It's been a while. It's been a while on here. It's, how long have we been going for? We've been going long over an hour, like pushing 120. Thanks for the live and answering the questions. 1 a.m. Yeah, no problem. Anytime. My pleasure doing it. I love doing it. Sorry about the technical difficulties. That was like horrible earlier, like terrible. Really, really bad on my part. My apologies. But yeah, stay tuned on all the stuff coming up. Gonna probably push out a few videos here before I go back to school. I'll probably be back to school and all of those videos will still be coming out, so be sure to watch them, like them, subscribe them. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Hopefully I was able to help some of you guys out today if you're still on here. Once again, sorry about the technical difficulties and the issues. That was terrible. So that won't happen again. And yeah. We'll talk soon, everyone. Cheers. Thanks for watching. Extreme Pro with ReString Zero. Later.